2 parcels at 2,200.
Okay, so I'm looking at the, so here's the map at the 2250. So all the red is the industrial, is that correct?
Yes, but it is excluded because it would come too close to either a school, a church, residential, park, library.
So, when you and I drove around, we drove to these areas, okay?
And we thought that 2,500 would include, so these are the areas we were looking at.
And so it looked to me like when we did this, we could have 4. That's what I was thinking. In our corners of our city, there's industrial parks. So that's what the thinking was when we did this, in the beginning. So, and I showed everybody the map of the industrial areas. So I mean, we pointed out property, and so I'm surprised to learn like that they don't fit now. I don't understand, but you know, I
Well,
trust.
because yeah, I mean, measuring by even this scale or any other scale, that's why we have professional engineers, right? Where you may look at it and as the crow flies, the particular areas, I think, still all come out no matter what distance you choose amongst the maps. It still is at 2250. It is one parcel near Inkster and the railroad tracks, and one parcel. Another one of that looks like it is
Pennsylvania Rockland.
yeah, Pennsylvania Rackham. So fundamentally, it's those are the items, the areas that we were looking at the time.
Right.
As is always the case, what it takes to get to 4 votes. I know that there was one council person that wanted it at 2,500 feet. I will point out that there was not a motion by another member without a distance restriction. But
That actually was the original motion. And you can go back and watch the video.
Well, I think ultimately it's a moot point since item 7.1 did not pass. Councilman?
I just had a couple of questions. Mr. Plato did ask that we all submit our information, but I wanted it to be out. I didn't want it to come to the attorney and be decided on before we got to here, because I had so many questions and changes. I didn't want it to, get my answer and not have the people see what the question was and what the answer was. So that's why I brought it today, and it took a few minutes, but I did want to get my questions out here in the public so people could hear them, and maybe they have some of the same questions. But I had questions about the ones that were submitted to Corporation Council. So what is the thinking of the fenced-in areas and the landfills and the compost and the golf courses? What is the reason for like putting them not by golf courses or?
No, if you have,
Councilman Johnson.
if you have an industrial, and I don't even know if it's there, but if you have industrial next to the golf course, it would stop right there. So if you're 10 feet from the golf course and you're going to build a building, you don't have to go 2,500 feet or 1,200 feet through the golf course, and there might be a residential on the other side of that. Because it's a golf course, you're not going to be driving through there. The distances to me, I mean, we're at 1,200, we're more than any other city in the state, but it don't matter because the first one didn't pass, so.
Well, we're still talking about it though,
It
we're
don't matter.
talking about all of getting it.
It don't matter, it didn't pass, so it's not gonna go.
Mr. Ramik?
So to satisfy the election, what people said they wanted, by going to 2 locations that are eligible, we have satisfied
5,250. So if the litmus test is not 1 foot less than 2,500, there would not be any parcels. Unless you started to put in major freeways, such as a restriction where you're still 2,500 feet away from residential, but on the other side of railroad tracks. Or, you know, there'd have to be some other nuance within our topography here, right? There's railroad tracks, railroad that runs north-south that separates residential, then goes I-1 and then I-2. But that's not what is before us right now.
And I understand what you're saying. And I've always believed that when the people vote for something, whether I like it or I don't like it, the majority, you know, the way it's always been, just like presidential elections too, the person who gets the most votes wins. I've always believed in it. I served this country. To make sure that that's a help to keep that enforced. But I still think that under the circumstances, we still need to look at that language. And if we can satisfy that language in any way to make it proper, I think that should be done. We've discussed this. It's not going to hurt to discuss it some more. I mean, it's up to this council. You do what you want, but that's just my beliefs.
I would point out that when 7.1 failed, which conformed to what the vote of the people was, there were 2 yes votes, 4 no votes, and 1 excused. That ordinance, to the letter, conformed to what the people voted on and approved. That has now been voted down, and therefore 7.2 is a moot point, and we start over. Is there any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
7.2 has been made as a motion and a second.
It has.
What now, in terms of the decision, a yes vote means what? A no vote means
A
what?
yes vote means that the zoning, if adopted, it would mean that zoning would be modified, but there is no statute that allows for businesses to go into those zoning classifications.
So a no vote would hold to the voters and the ballot statement. A yes vote would be to modify based on the discussion here.
A no vote would be against, you know, what's before us, which is there's a number, really the planning commission's recommendations with some minor tweaks. That would be the kind of the no vote. If, in my estimation, if a motion was made at 2,500 feet, that would be within what the voters, but that is not what is, that's not what's before us.
And make just another statement or two within 2 minutes. I thank you for the first vote because I believe it supports what the ballot stated. In the March 1 Taylor Planning Commission meeting, Commissioners Semien and Zwed said any change in distance should be put to the voters because they approved having marijuana facilities in the city based on a 2,500-foot distance of separation. The city is in the best legal position by upholding the ballot's wording only in industrial districts and with a minimum of 2,500 feet from each of the respective areas. This teaches students that its leaders are true to their word, it protects home values, it reduces stress on city officials, and values existing businesses to change existing zoning and distance at whatever the outside influence is dictating, sets for legal battles over preferential treatment, future pressure to make future changes, and violates the vote of the Taylor citizens when 44% said absolutely not, 56 said only within these restrictions. I would trust again on this 7.2 that it would be voted no. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further, I'm sorry, discussion on 7.2?